Vicky, you're muted, darling.
Hello, everyone. It's Vicky Hacking, ambassador with Jafra. I'm going into my 61st year in January. Wow, it's just right here. We're so excited tonight to have Belinda Ellsworth. She has been with us for years. I would say she has been a keynote speaker with Jafra for maybe over 40 years. She's come in and been a trainer, a top trainer. And so we're just excited that she has agreed to come on and to help us get ready and get organized for the new year, 2026. So, Belinda, if you'll just introduce yourself, tell a little bit about yourself, that would be wonderful. And then give it to us and help us to make 2026 our best year.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much, everyone. So, I began my direct sales journey in 1979. And actually, it even goes a few years before that, prior to that, but I don't count that as for real. But it actually was a few years that really shaped me as an individual. The very first experience I had was as a teenager, and my mom had gone to uh, a home party of a competitor of yours.
Yeah.
And she went to a Mary Kay party. We'll just put it out there. And so I went because I wanted to go so bad. I just thought that would be so much fun. I was only 14 at the time. And I went, and the lady that was a director at the time asked me to be her helper. And I was like, oh, this is big fun. Like, who doesn't want to do that? And I did. And then she hired me to come to her home, like 2 to 3 times a week, and work in her office. And so that was really my first introductory to direct sales. And I actually got to meet Mary Kay Ash when I was 15. And I really became and got an understanding of what this business is able to do for women, and the great opportunities that it has. And so then in 79 at 18, I started on my own journey with direct sales. And I was in two different companies over a 16-year period of time. The first one, I was very heavily involved, one of the top sellers within the company. And then the last 8 years, I really learned to develop my skills. I had a very large organization, one of the three largest within the company. And I really learned how to develop people in those 8 year span of time. And it was at the end of that I was really encouraged by some other motivational speakers. They're like, you should be doing this for everyone, not just one company. And I really felt the calling, if you will, to just really be able to help other people within this industry, to take all the things that I had learned over those 16 years and shortcut it for everybody, give them the tools and resources that they needed to really be successful in this business. Because a lot of people, as many of you know, you've been here for many years, they come in to give something a try to make a little bit of extra income. And we want to create a success story for as many people as we can, no matter why they come in. And so that was really my passion and my desire. And so I began as a motivational speaker in 1995. And honestly, Jafra was one of my very first big conventions that I did. I got plugged in with them. And then over the course of the years, I have worked with them many, many times. I had the great honor and pleasure of actually staying as a house guest with Jan Day, which was incredible, and just really experience her vision that she had. And that was probably with 3 months before she passed away. So that was really quite a treat and quite a pleasure. So I have done lots within this industry. It is really since I've been speaking for all direct sales companies. I wrote Direct Sales for Dummies, Part One, Volume One, and Volume Two, both of them bestsellers. Volume One was a bestseller in 4 countries. So if you don't have that book, getting the newest version of that, so the updated version is probably the absolute best one. It's about 50% new material over the last one, and it's really focused a lot more with the social media aspect and online marketing aspect of it that so many of us have to do these days post COVID. So that is one of the resources that I have. Plus, I have many other resources, including my planner, which I am going to discuss this evening. And it is something I've really put my heart into. I was really encouraged by a lot of different direct selling CEOs that said, gosh, this industry needs a planner that really meets the needs of the individuals. That's going to help them. And over the course, this is my 9th year of doing that. We've really tweaked it along the way so that it really does help you show up to be the best version of yourself, to be the most efficient, get the most done, be organized, be committed, be consistent in your endeavors, and giving you the tools of the things to do. So that's my story in a nutshell. And so we're going to dive in tonight, and we are going to talk about our 2026 theme for the year. And then at the very end, I'm going to show you the planner, and we're going to talk about it. We'll kind of talk about it a little bit as we go along as well. To meet with some of the topics that I am discussing. So every single year with this planner, I sit down, and after talking to many leaders within the industry and where they're at, and I kind of see what I think that people's attitudes are and what they might be struggling with, we create a theme based on those feelings and that topic. And so it really became clear to me this year, probably hearing more than anything, is people still missing the way that it was 5 years, prior to COVID. They sort of still are stuck in that space. But then a lot of people just don't feel motivated. And so they're like, I know I need to get moving. I know I need to do things, but I'm not really clear which direction to go in. So our theme this year is called Be Present, Take Action. And I really felt that this was important because people really need how to learn to be present again. And so being present is showing up. It is when you spend too much time thinking about the past and have this sort of longing for the way things were, that can create some not as much anxiety, but depression almost, or a melancholy. It doesn't create energy. It can kind of bring you down if we think too much about how things used to be. What we need to be is show up and be present. If we think too much about the future, like, well, what am I going to do? And I'm not sure how to do that. And I can't do this anymore. And what's that going to look like? And what's that going to be? If we spend too much time thinking about what's yet to happen, that can actually create a lot of anxiety and can also paralyze you. And so it's really important that we show up every day being the best versions of ourselves and say, I'm going to be present today and I'm going to do my very best today. And I think if you spend that mindset and that energy on that, it's going to be extremely helpful to you. Now, one of the things that I get asked by so many people is how do you get motivated? Like, I just want to be more motivated. And for years and years and years, my number one answer was, you need to be inspired. So once you're inspired, and that's either by other individuals we get inspiration and draw inspiration from. We can get inspiration from people's stories, through watching podcasts, through videos. Like, any of those things can be a great inspiration, and that can actually really motivate you. It helps you to understand that people have walked where you've walked, they've been in your shoes, look what they've been through, and they're still coming out strong. Like, when we resonate with people like this, it can create a lot of strength and encouragement, and it can help us to be more motivated. But honestly, the number one way to get motivated, and this really helped me in the last couple of years because my business changed dramatically, and not in a way that I wanted it to. But nevertheless, it did. And so we have to say, okay, I really did a deep dive in this. How do you get motivated? And the actual research and number one answer to being motivated is to take action. Action begets action. And so when we sit here and think, oh, I don't feel like doing anything, it's doing one thing. It's showing up. I'm going to show up today, and this is what I'm going to get done today. These are the three things I'm going to do no matter what. Maybe it's the one thing that no matter before this day ends, this is what I'm going to accomplish today. The interesting thing is the more you do, the more you want to do. And people don't always understand what that is, but it's the same way with working out. Have you ever thought about working out and you're just like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to exercise today. And you really think of every reason why you don't need to exercise today. I mean, we can come up with every single reason, but the minute that you start exercising, you feel so good that you're thinking, I could go longer. Or, you know what, I'm going to do? I'm going to do a little bit of this too. And then that suddenly makes you want to do more. And it's the same way with phone calling. I think so often one of the things that people struggle with so much is making customer care calls. And yet it's the heartbeat of your business. Talking to your customers, interacting with them, engaging. And people are actually craving interaction with companies, with reps, with everything. People, it's convenient to shop online, but there's nothing pleasurable about shopping online. And people miss, like, that is the number one thing that people are saying that they're missing, is that interaction. And that interaction can be in person, it can be on the phone, it can be via Zoom, just like we're doing, but it's actually having a real conversation with people. And so people just dread customer care calls. I get it all the time. It's the one thing, even when prior to COVID and I was speaking in organizations, if you were lucky that even with a consumable product, if it was 10% of people that actually did customer care calls, on non-consumable products, it's like 5, as little as sometimes 3%, like jewelry companies and other companies that don't have any it's just see it, you like it, you buy it. They only do about 3% customer care. So how much are you leaving on the table? And so when you do customer care calls, you can dread it and dread it and dread it and dread it. But the minute that you start, all you have to do is make 2 or 3, and then you want to make 5. And then you're enjoying yourself so much, you want to make 8 or 10. And sometimes I can go, once I get on a roll of making my phone calls, I can go for as long as 2 hours, contacting and then leaving messages. I get a good message down that I want to leave. And suddenly it makes you want to do more. So I just want to encourage you every single day. It's like, what action can I take today? And we're going to get more specific into that. So here are some ways. We're going to talk first about more ways to be present, and then we're going to talk about taking the action. So being present, number 1 is awareness. Be aware of your surroundings, your thoughts and feelings without distraction. So if you want to learn to be more present, try to eliminate the distractions. And your number 1 distraction, I think you all know what that is your phone. So we need to put it away. Like I was sitting here waiting for Vicky to come in, and I was looking at my phone, and then when she came on, it scared me to death. So because I wasn't completely ready. But then I stuck my phone in my drawer, I shut the drawer. I like to keep, sometimes if I'm really going to be working on something, I charge my phone, or I use that time, or I leave it downstairs in my living room and come up to my office and work, because otherwise I am distracted and I'm not staying present in that moment. So that's number 1. Number 2 is mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness can enhance your ability to be present. That could be meditation, it could be prayer, it could be breath work, it could be yoga, whatever it is that you like to do that can help center you to being in a healthy, positive attitude. So number 3 is focus. So concentrating on the task at hand rather than what else you might have to do later, or, something that might have happened yesterday. So concentrating and focusing. I think you probably all are pretty familiar with this system that I teach called the Power Hour. That's what's so powerful about that Power Hour, is it really causes you to focus on one thing at a time. And number 4, to be present, is connection. Engaging genuinely with people, having experiences. And that is where really, talking to your customers. Many of you have had customers for a very long time. So reaching out to them, connecting, it was so lovely just connecting with Vicky and chatting with her and finding out what she's up to as we were planning this event. And it was very inspirational for me to listen to her be so excited about the adventure that she's on right now and the changes in her life. And that's inspiring. Like that drew inspiration for me. I thought if she can be doing something completely different right now than she's ever done before and doing it alone on her own right now, well, any one of us can just about do anything, don't you think? I mean, that's how I felt when I got off the phone with her. And that's why we genuinely need to have connections with people. It helps center us. It helps build us up. It encourages us. So those are the 4 ways to help you be more present. So now let's talk about the 4 ways to take action. The first one is through setting goals. And this is really the perfect time to be talking about this right now, because if you haven't already set your goals for 2026, you cannot waste any more time because we want to hit this year, running in a very positive direction. So setting goals. Now, I've been teaching goal setting for, 40 years, and I still try to learn as much as I can about setting goals. But it's so funny how it's changed over the years of people's attitudes about it. And a lot of people are afraid to set goals. What is the fear? The fear is, well, what if I fail? Well, there is no failure in setting a goal. Like it's a benchmark and it's something that we are striving toward. And as you set those goals, it doesn't matter if you hit it every single time because you're further ahead than if you had done nothing. So yes, you might have some what you would consider failures. I don't consider those failures. And it might you didn't reach the benchmark exactly where you wanted, but you're further ahead than if you did nothing. But the opposite of that is you will never experience the sweetness of success. Truly experience the sweetness of success if we don't set those goals. And goals keep moving us forward in a positive direction. So the latest I hear about goal setting, though, is well, when we set goals, we get disappointed in ourselves and it can be a setback. And you know what? I'm not buying it. Not buying it at all. So let's talk about the 3 steps to set effective goals, because this really does make a difference. Number 1 is you have to have your heart connection to it. So your why. You can't just say, I want to sell $5,000 a month, or I would like to, sponsor or recruit like 5 new people. Like, why? Why do you want to do that? What's that going to look like for you, your business, if you did that? What income would that generate? What would you do with that income? What's something that you can really get connected to this year? Is it a trip that you would like to take? Is it something you'd like to do for your family? Like, what is that why of why you're doing it? And we need to get really connected to that. So you can also do this via vision boards, which is extremely important. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But the first step to setting an effective goal is the why of it, the vision of it. The second piece then are the benchmarks. So we need to actually sit down and make realistic benchmarks. What are you going to do? Not just what somebody else thinks you ought to do, but like, what would you like to do? And we need to break those benchmarks down into bite-sized chunks. And I'm going to walk you through that in the planner here in just a second. So we have our annual goal, but then we want to break those down to quarterly, and then we want to break those down to monthly. It's really important when you have that monthly goal, like let's say it is $5,000. Well, then you break that down to weekly. What does that look like weekly? Well, it's $1,250 per week. That's what it ends up coming out to be. So then if we're going to sell that much per week, or it's $1,250. So we need to do that. And then what do you need to do? Well, you break that down even to daily. And so then you say it's like $166 a day is what it breaks down to. So what of your products can you think of that I could sell? I just need to sell $166 today. Like if we started thinking that through every single day, you would be able to reach your benchmarks. So number two are benchmarks. And these, like for me, this is how I set my benchmarks. I set my like minimum goal. This is what I need to hit minimally no matter what. Here's my middle goal. This is what would be really lovely if I were to hit this. This would be on target. And then I have a stretch goal. Like if I reach this, then that would be amazing. And so for doing that, it's helpful because you'll almost always surpass that must have goal. You'll almost always surpass it. A lot of times you will reach that middle goal pretty easily. And sometimes you'll reach your stretch goal, but in stretching, you don't stop once you've reached that goal. So it really helps you. I went on a very strong health journey. It's been a year and a half now, is what it's been, just about. It's been 16 months. And I just had decided I was starting to decline in my health and I had it. And I didn't want to, grow old and not be able to move around and do the things I wanted to do. I didn't want to be on a bunch of medications. And so I got a hold of it. And it was, a kind of a three-pronged effect. It was lose the weight, and it was get in shape. And so I learned a couple of things about goal setting because I'm an all or nothing kind of gal. And I bet many of you are too. A lot of us in direct sales, we end up being that way. And I've always been that way. So every time I would set a goal for my health, I'd say, okay, I want to lose this much weight. I'm going to do this workout program. And it would be big. And I'd always make it big. And then I wouldn't be able to keep up with it. And then I'd end up abandoning it. And so with this health goal, I just focused on my food at first. And it was at first what foods I was eliminating. And I just stuck to that. Like that was a line in the sand of no matter what. And then it was increasing my foods, like food meal planning, what I wanted to eat. And all that, I just started walking. Like I walked as much as I could, and that was it. Then as a more like 4 or 5 more months went on, I started adding some different stretching in sort of my own living room. Then I started doing some weight training 3 times a week. And I never thought I would be able to do weight training and strength training, but oh my gosh, it's completely changed my life. So when I started that, I was like, you know what? I really need to lose 50 pounds. That's the minimum. If I could lose 60, that would be awesome. But my stretch goal is 70 pounds. If I could lose 70 pounds, I would be over the moon. And I wanted to do all this by my birthday of this year, which is January 3rd. And I have to tell you that I am like right now 2 pounds shy of 70 pounds. so,
Wow.
but it is, so I hit my middle goal and then I just kept going. And I said, I can hit that stretch goal. And if I don't, because it kind of really plateaued, but it's okay because I feel great and I look great. And the biggest thing though is my strength training. And then I've added isometrics to it. And I've been listening to all these videos on, how to stay healthy and strong over 60. And so it's like, okay, I'm there. And it's been the most awesome journey, but it has been by layering my goals. That's the point I want to make to you in this. Is we don't have to be all or nothing in this. We can layer our goals. Right now this is my goal. Then I'll add this to it. Once I start doing this consistently, because consistency is key. You know what? I'm going to add one more thing to that. So don't beat yourself up this year thinking, okay. And I think one of the hardest things for people that have been in this industry the longest is you need to set goals that are relevant. And we have a tendency to go back and set goals what you would have set for yourself 30 years ago, because that's what you know. And like 20 years ago, okay, I used to do this all the time, and that's what I was doing really great. But what's relevant for where you are today and how you want to show up? That's what's important. And then layer those goals. The third piece to goal setting is the most important, and that is what's your plan of action to hit that? So let's go back to that 5,000, 1,250 a week, $166 a day. What's your plan of action? How are you going to get there? Like, Is it going to be through phone calling? Is it going to be through sending out videos like Vicky is suggesting on her phone? Is it going to be doing a couple of in-person events? Is it doing Zoom chats with people? 15-minute Zoom chats. That's all it takes to do. Let's visit, let's connect on customer care. Let's find out where you are. What do we need to do to take care of your skin? Has your skin changed? Let's do an evaluation. Call it whatever you want to check in with my best customers. Let people know you've been selected as maybe one of those key people. But you've got to have a plan of action. Maybe some of you still like doing vendor events. Are you going to do one a month? Do you want to do more than that? So events, there's in-person events, there's online events, there's pop-up events, there's vendor events. Those are all the kind of events that you might want to say, okay, some of you say, you know what, that ship sailed. I'm not doing that as much anymore. Then what's going to be your customer care? How are you going to engage with your customers? And then if you're not going to be engaging in those kinds of events, you have to determine, how am I going to build new clients? If anybody were to say to me, what has been, why are some direct selling companies struggling in the last several years? I would tell you without a shadow of a doubt. It's when everybody went to just on taking care of their customers online, they weren't building new customers. They were just reservicing their old customers. And if you don't build new customers, you aren't going to grow. So, maybe it's just, if I just want to get 10 new customers a month, maybe 5 is a good goal. Maybe if you're already doing that, you want to say, okay, I'm going to get 20. Like, what is your goal for how many new customers a month you would like to add? And when you have that goal, you'll start moving toward it. It's when we don't have any goals that we really don't change our behavior. So, number 1 of taking action is goal setting. Number 2 is your schedule. You have to have schedule and you have to have a routine, guys. That's really the crux of why some people end up really not making, everybody's got the same amount of time. And why is it that some people, that old saying, if you want something done, ask a busy person. Why can a busy person get so much more done in a single day? It's because they know how to schedule their day. They're making their most of their day. So I really want to encourage you, and you don't have to overschedule. And if doing personal things are important to you, great, then schedule that in too. You know what? I have to schedule in my workout time. I schedule in my gym time because that's important to me. I still do Wednesdays off so I can be with my grandkids on Wednesday. Like, what is your schedule? Like, it doesn't have to be, just because we say set a schedule, you don't have to create a schedule from the time you wake up till 5 or 6 o'clock of just doing your business all day long. But if you don't schedule things, you won't get them done. What gets scheduled gets done. I would like all of you to put that up as a little sign. What gets scheduled gets done. So if it's important for you to have lunch with a friend once a month, then schedule it. Like, I'm all about having a well-balanced life, but a well-balanced life doesn't happen by happenstance. It happens by scheduling. So if you have a hobby that you want to do, great, do that hobby. I encourage that with everything in me. Like, when we have hobbies, it enriches our lives, but you got to schedule it. So I just really want to encourage you with that. Now, here's where I want to talk about the planner just a little bit. I'm going to talk about what we've talked about so far. So, like, for goals, at the very beginning of the planner, we have a 2-page spread here where you can put in your vision, your why. Then we go to your what? Your annual goals. And we have a place for both personal and professional. I love this page right here. This is Plan It Out. So this is for you to plan out like campaigns or sales strategies that you want to do each month. That way you can sort of see, do I have something planned, something kind of special for each one of those months, whether that's your Valentine's Day or Mother's Day or, spring, whatever it is. But you should be looking at this saying, do I have myself covered with campaigns? Now, you guys have a great company that does lots of campaigns, but it's always good for you to go back to the things you like. We've got these 2 pages of social media. Now, here's where we have our work-life balance sheet. And that's where we're incorporating not only goals for your business, but what are your goals for your family? What's your goals for your community? What are your goals for your health? What are your goals for, hobbies and such? So as we make those goals, we're going to have a more enriched life. And you actually, there's proven, it's shown that you actually will enjoy your journey and enjoy your business so much more if it is well balanced. Now, one of the things that's important about keeping those goals in front of you is we have it broken down then quarterly. So you take your annual goals. Now we're going to break them down to quarterly. And then at each place of that quarter, like January, February, March, we've got a place for you to actually plan out and write out what some of your campaigns are. Like, what are some of the things you need to do to get that campaign ready? Whether that might be creating posts, going live, sending out emails, whatever that might look like. Now we go to this 2-page month spread where we're going to break our goals down to monthly. And here's where you've got fun dates to know. You've got some instruction for that month. I do an inspirational video every single month giving you tips on sales strategies for that month, ways to engage with your customers that month. Here's a place for your goals. And then over here, we've got who do you want to connect with? And then here we've got what's your product focus each week of that month. Then here we've got what are your lives? What are you going to go live about? What day are you going to do it? What time are you going to do it? And then here we've got analytics, because what gets tracked sees growth. If you aren't tracking what you're actually doing, that's where we can get lost, and then we're actually not continuing. Now we move to the weekly schedule. We do have a month at a glance calendar. And for those of you that are familiar with the Power Hour, that's where we have these 4 little boxes within each date. And that's for you to check off your Power Hour. And down here, we have a legend for your 4 income producing activities. So we know that if you can focus on those 2 to 3 times a week, you're going to see some consistent success. Now, in our scheduling page, we do it kind of unique. So I've got the week at a glance, which is Monday through Thursday, because we changed our page to where this is one day. It says 2 column is one whole day. It starts at 6 a.m. It goes all the way to 10 p.m. So you can do things like time blocking and time batching in there. And then something I added last year, and we've continued with this, is what's your goal of the day? So I do think it is important to have every day, what is my one thing that I want to accomplish today, no matter what? It's the must do, and in no going back. Now with that, then you've got what are your things to do for the day? What's really nice about this, if you have a purpose and if you have a one track mind on what you want to achieve, you can align your daily things to do to actually support that instead of just doing random acts. And then down here, this is something I've also added in the last couple of years, is who are your 3 people that you want to connect with? Now, when I do my connect calls, I like to do it where I'm trying to get 3 new people. So if I can't get 3 new people, then I will connect with a past customer. But some people like to do 1 new customer. I'm going to touch base with one of my old customers and one of my current customers who have just bought the product and see how they're doing with it. You can do your 3 connect calls however you like. And then, of course, at the bottom, I have the healthy habit tracker, which is like how much water intake you've had, how many steps you've had. So that goes Monday through Thursday. And then you've got your weekend at a glance all by itself. And what's really nice about that is it's got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then at the end of the week, it's got a recap. So one of the things, like if you're doing Chat GPT or anything like that, like if you look up almost anything on how to be successful, it's always assess and change what you're doing. So at the end of the week, we've got here what worked, what didn't, what do you still need to accomplish? So we really help you to assess your week and then really change your actions accordingly to the things that worked. So that is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. What's also nice about that is if you have gals on your team that are really part-time and they have a full-time job and they've just come into this because they like the skincare and they kind of are excited about it, they do a lot of weekend events a lot of times. They might do fairs and vendor events. And what's nice about that is then they can kind of focus on their business on that weekend and keep those things together. So that is your schedule. The third thing to help you to sort of stay action is systems. So systems are the things that you do consistently. So a schedule is the time frame in which I do them, but the systems are what's my system for customer care? What's my system? And really, customer care can be broken down into like four categories. And that is acquiring a new customer. What's your system for that? Are you posting? Are you following up? Are you, going and looking at your messages on your social media feed? Like, what is your system for getting new clients? Then, what's your system for onboarding a new person? Like following up with them, seeing how they're enjoying the product. Um, and then, of course, what's your system for follow up with an existing customer? So that's where you really want to dive into what are my systems around that? What's your system for maybe booking events? What's your system for recruiting? What's your system for your social media? Like, do you have a content calendar? Do you create all of your posts maybe on a Sunday evening and then post them? What set up, do a posting scheduler? Do you always go live on a Tuesday? Like once you start understanding that the schedule is the time frame in which you do the things, but the systems are the things that you're doing on a consistent basis, a routine. Routine is important. Habit is important. Why? And I don't know if anybody knows that answer, but the reason it's so important is because the more routine it becomes, the less you have to think about it. You just get up and do it. And the more that when we wake up in a day, I'm sure you've heard this sort of statement, it's become sort of popular out there in the world, but a lot of people have decision fatigue. If I have to make too many decisions in a day, I just want to like not do anything. I just kind of want to give up on all this stuff going on. So to avoid decision fatigue, how do you do that? You do that by having to make less decisions. And how do you make less decisions? When you don't have to, when you already know what's in store for the day, when you already know this is what I do on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, this is what I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays, this is what I like to do with my Saturday mornings, like whatever that is, the more that you have those systems in place and you create routines and habits around it, the less thinking about it you're going to have to do, and the more success you're going to see because of that. And number 4, this is the last one, but it really is super important. And that is, it's very important for you to have a healthy, positive attitude. And what are the ways that we can have a healthy, positive attitude? Well, one is by staying active and being healthy. Those are things that are going to help you have a positive attitude. But the number one contributor to having a healthy, positive attitude has been proven that it is gratitude, using a gratitude journal. I normally have my gratitude journal in this little pack, but for some reason it's not in here. But we do have a gratitude journal, and our gratitude journal is very specific. It has writing prompts for you at the same time every day. What are the 3 things you're grateful for? And by using a gratitude journal, it is shown to attribute to a positive attitude. It helps people achieve their goals by 40% more. It actually, like lots of doctors are starting to use gratitude journals in people's like ongoing health journey. If they're having a debilitating illness or a stroke, they're using this because their patients are seeing greater results for those that are focused on their wins of the day, what's positive about their day, instead of focusing on what's wrong in their day. So I really want to encourage you with that. The other way to keep a healthy, positive attitude is by surrounding yourself with positive things, positive people, positive things in your office. A nice, tidy office will help you to stay more positive. Inspirational things like, the news is not going to help you to stay positive. So what are you feeding yourself with that is going to be more positive? That was part of the thing. I was watching YouTube videos and a lot of it was news, and I found myself just like, ugh. And then I clicked on this doctor teaching about women over 60 and exercises that are really good for balance, what's really good for this. And the next thing you know, that's what I started getting fed more than all the news and political junk. I started getting fed healthy, and then diets, and then like how to eat healthy. And then the next thing you know, I was like doing my workouts in the floor while I was playing my videos, and it just changed everything. Like I can't even like describe it enough. So find, and then there's inspirational, like how to things. Like if you're trying to learn how to do things on social media, or you're trying to learn how to do Canva, or you're trying to learn things, there's so many tutorials on just about anything in the whole wide world you would ever want to learn. So keeping a healthy, positive attitude. So that is our training for tonight, my friends. I just really want to, and then I'm going to go in with the planner and what comes in the bundle and everything. But one of the things I really want to encourage you in is I just want to go back to something I've been teaching and training on, and I've taught it Jaffra's conferences, but I have taught these 4 pillars of success for like 35 years. And I just want to revisit them really quickly with you, because you can do all kinds of things, but it always comes back down to these 4 things. They have to be your foundation, and then everything else is built on top of it. And number 1 is focus. We really have to learn on focusing at one thing at a time, of one task that you want to accomplish, and being very clear about that. So focus is number 1. Commitment is number 2. And commitment to what you want to do now, where your life is now. What do I want to be? What do I want to do with this now? What do I want my business to look like? And you got to be kind of in it to win it. Like I want to be the best version of me when I'm doing it. Number 3 is consistency. And consistency is usually not fun, but consistency is showing up on a regular basis, doing the same old mundane tasks, and just doing it as a routine. And as much as it seems mundane, the winner is you will just, I was never one of those people, and I'm sure many of you are, but I was never one of those people that made my bed every day, ever. And then finally, it was 3 years ago, and I said, you know what? I'm done with this. I've read too many things about you'll feel so much better if you wake up and make your bed first thing, and it'll make your whole day better. And I'm thinking, why? And but I decided that's going to be my new routine. That's going to be the first thing that I do. I'm going to do it before I even leave my room when I wake up in the morning. And I've done that. I bet you in 3 years, I've only missed maybe 10 times. I'm not kidding. And I feel so good when I walk back into my room, and I feel so much better about starting my day. And it's a silly little thing, but that now has become a routine that I don't even have to stop and think about it. It is just done. And sometimes I crawl out of the bed and I'm thinking about coffee that I already know is waiting for me downstairs because my husband's already made it. But I'm like, no, I'm going to make this bed before I walk out of this room. And then it just feels so much better when you walk back in it. Like when I go back in to get dressed, when I go back in to put my makeup on, I'm like, oh, my room looks so tidy and awesome. So that's a little thing, but what a big impact it has on your entire day. And as we continue to add consistent routines to things that make us happy, that bring us joy, that make an impact on us, wow, it can do so much for you. And then number 4 is organization. Organization is still the number 1 thing that helps you have more time. If you can think, oh, I need to call that person, where does that lead live? That is an important piece. And I really do believe when I built this planner, that was what I built it on, those foundations. It helps you to focus on key things. It helps you to be committed. It helps you consistency. There are built-in accountability measures in here, and it's a really good organizer. So I've gone through most of the pages with you. There are these little QR codes in here, which makes it a lot easier than it used to be. You used to have to log in. So you just hit this QR code, that'll take you to the video. In our new planner this year, there's 28 tutorials. There's 16 how to use a particular page or like goal setting, time management. And then every month, one each month, I bring to you a message that is geared specifically for that month on inspiration, sales training, and so on. So you can buy the planner by itself. And right now is our holiday special. It is 10% off of the regular price, which was 57. With that, you do get the digital planner as well. So right now, that makes the planner, I think, $53. Our bundle gives you a little bit of everything. It gives you the planner, the digital planner, it gives you the gratitude journal, it gives you this little mini planner that you can pop in your purse or take with you, like to events if you don't want to take your big planner with you. It comes with post-it notes of top 10 things to do for the day. You get 2 pads of those. You get additional stickers, and you get these magnetic bookmarks. So plus all the videos, it's about a $200 value. The normal price on that is $109, but our sale price for the holidays on that has been 20% off the bundle, which makes it $88. We do have it where you can split that into 4 payments if you'd like. So it's a really good deal. And when you do order that, you get free shipping. So the bundle is a really great way to go because it has that key piece with the gratitude journal in there. So, and for all of you, I created this special journal called our Imagine Journal because I just love Vicki so much and I've worked with her for so long. This was like a introductory thing we did at the beginning of the year for pre-order people, but any of you ordering the planner and we'll say in the next 2 days, I'm going to throw in the Imagine Journal as well. And it's just a blank journal where you can imagine all the possibilities for your life for 2026. So that's it, Miss Vicki. That's what I have. If
Oh,
anybody has questions,
Belinda, I have been so inspired. I just sitting here listening to you and seeing what you've done with your life this past year. Oh my gosh, it's just you are the living proof of what you teach. You really are. I'm just so proud of you, and I loved it. I've just enjoyed this training so much that you've given to us. So, Belinda, will you give us all of how where we send our, how we order this? How do we go through
sure.
this?
It is work from
You
your
could put it in the chat, I think. Maybe could we put it in the chat or not that everybody could know?
header. You were supposed to get that link, but I'll do that. I don't have the direct link for you, but I'm just going to give you the name of the website and then you can just click on
Yeah, that
planner.
that would be really important. I think that that's something we need to promote. And then I don't know if you said I didn't get anything from you, so that's why I had to go to Jackie because I went through all my emails and of course,
Well,
that's like,
uh,
did you
that
send it again after I had inquired?
numerous times. And then and she said, I just haven't heard back from Vicky. So then I got the link from you. So then I thought, oh, she must have got everything. But no, I sent you those assets and everything that very next day.
Okay. I haven't looked in the
Sorry
last
about
two
that.
days, so but I know that I told Jackie.
So it's workfromyourhappyplace.com and then you can click on planner 2026 planner and it'll take you there. And then that's a whole entire sales page that has everything that I talked about on there.
Yeah, everybody's just saying what a great training it was
Oh,
tonight
thanks,
in our
guys.
chats. I think what we'll do, Belinda, is we will also when we go in Buzz tonight, when we say goodbye and we stop the recording, then we're going to talk about a lot of this. I think I'd like to hear what the girls have to say and what they take away from it. And so we'll just continue. And I
Great.
I can't thank you enough, but I would like you right now, just go in there and put that in the chat. Do you see where the chat is?
Yes, I thought I did. There's
Yeah,
enter.
right there. See where the chat is? Just go in there and just write that down the website. That would be great. And then I'll post it on the tomorrow, you guys. I will go in and find it and post everything tomorrow with this recording so that you can see what we're going to do. Okay?
All
I've got
right.
that.
Thanks, ladies. Thanks so
Oh,
much.
thank you, Belinda. Have a wonderful evening and thank
Yeah.
you so much for this wonderful training. So
Oh,
good to connect with you and congratulations on your huge accomplishments. You are living proof
Oh, thank you.
You
I
are
do
you're
feel
the
so much
perfect
better.
example. Wow. Love it. All right.
All right.
Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Bye. And I'm going to end the recording.